The Dignity in Schools campaign is a coalition of over 100 organizations in 28 states that bring together youth, parents, educators, advocates, and community leaders to end school pushout and dismantle the school-to-prison pipeline. The annual National Week of Action evolved from our first conference in 2009, where members called for a day of action to release our national resolution against school pushout.
When DSC really started, it was more lawyers and advocates. We had a couple of organizations at that time. The goal has evolved to really exemplify what we really are about now in DSC.
And everybody gets involved in utilizing the time to have a media focus to be able to frame the message. And it allows for people from various parts of the country who are experiencing the same, ridiculousness with their children, and it makes people stand up and take notice. And I think that's just hugely important to Dignity in Schools.
And the Week of Action, in terms of what it does, it actually helps us to get our message out. Every year with the Week of Action, we do demands. We lift those up. We try to choose a theme that would resonate a message.
The following year, in 2010, members wanted to hold a Week of Action to give local communities across the country an opportunity to lift up their campaigns and demands in alignment with the Dignity in Schools campaign.
For the first Week of Action, we were the ones that helped to design the poster. We asked them to come up with something that depicted our young people, and especially that year, we were using the message that 3 million young people were being suspended or expelled from school, and that's a lot of folks.
Since 2010, our Week of Action has become a cornerstone of our campaign, with events in 50 cities featuring art exhibits, community forums, performances, rallies, and marches highlighted in local and national media.
What's been your favorite Week of Action theme?
It was actually the solutions, not suspensions, because we focus a lot on equity in the classroom. And so looking at some of the issues around suspensions.
They're all very special because each one tend to be unique. I remember we did it on Tulane's campus, and it was really interesting and stood out for me because we had some young boys and they were able to articulate why they were there.
For each Week of Action, members have created a theme to highlight different aspects of school pushout and the solutions.
So in 2015, Community Education Project, creating a space for student leaders to come and discuss other stuff that is happening that of course is connected to pushout, such as poverty, such as police brutality, racial justice issues.
Since 2015, we have added a national event into the Week of Action, including a briefing in Washington, D.C. with Senator Chris Murphy, and a national event in Pittsburgh with our member Education Rights Network, featuring local policymakers and hip-hop artist Jasiri X.
The favorite one was Lift Us Up, Don't Push Us Out, and I think that was because children really are crying for us to help them. The cry to say, lift us up, instead of beating us down, lift us up.
Our youth did an event at one of the recreation centers, and those young men now are Black Men Rising, and they helped spearhead that particular event. The media came and they were able to share their stories.
Look at yourselves again. Look at yourselves anew. You are not a black man falling. You are a black man rising.
In 2017, we are gathering in New Orleans for the launch of a national conversation on race and education, with keynote remarks from actor and hip-hop artist David Banner. Local members in New Orleans will host the Crisis in Education Tribunal event, putting the New Orleans school system on trial. The Week of Action has brought attention to local campaigns focused on the DSC Model Code and call for a moratorium on out-of-school suspensions, our Counselor Not Cops platform, and implementation of restorative practices and culturally relevant curriculum.
Every year we're moving to a different level. The Week of Action has even put us into DC, where we've been able to bring together legislators into a conversation.
What I'd like to see at a state level would be bringing awareness to more cities throughout North Carolina, for example. And so, growing it at that level.
More than anything now, we need unity. We need to be unified in our voices and the way that we're talking and what our goals are.
The Week of Action is so powerful, and as it continues to grow with more and more members, I think it will definitely have a huge impact that will allow Dignity in the Schools to continue its presence, to grow in its presence and its message.
This is important to us. This is the message we want to get out. And now we have a venue, a vehicle, or a medium to even do it, thanks to DSC.